Surf's up. Today we're talking about vacation time and how it's different around the world. Hi again, welcome back to Plain English. I'm Jeff. JR is the producer, and you are listening to the best podcast for learning English with current events and at a speed that's just right for learning. Today is episode 176 of our semi-weekly program, and that means you can find all the episode resources for today online at plainenglish.com/176. Coming up today, how much vacation time do people get around the world? Is your country the one with 30 statutory days off, or is it the one with 0? Your country is probably in between, but we'll talk about the differences in paid time off around the world. In the second half of the program, you'll discover what does it mean to leave something on the table. And we'll close with a quote since it's Monday. Sound good to you? Great. Before we start, I wanted to plug our email list. The list is growing. A lot of your fellow listeners like getting the episode announcements, the links to further reading, and the definitions of a bonus word for each episode. So that's like 104 new words a year just by signing up for free at plainenglish.com/mail, M-A-I-L. Once more, it's totally free and delivered right to your inbox somewhere around 8 o'clock in the morning on the days of a new episode. Around 8 o'clock in the morning here in the Americas. plainenglish.com/mail. As we hit the middle of summertime here in the Northern Hemisphere, one thing is on everyone's mind: vacation. So I thought I would do an episode about how vacation time and vacation allowances are different around the world. The numbers I'll give in today's episode apply to full-time workers. So if you work hourly or something less than full-time, the numbers might be different for you. Before we start, let's talk about why taking vacation from your job is good for you. It might sound obvious, but vacation time is important, not only because it's good, we like it, but because it's good for our productivity also. 2 reasons for that. You may have heard the term recharge your batteries. You need to reduce the physical stress on your body and allow your mind to recover from the pressures of work. Vacation can mean different things to different people. The point isn't to just rest, like sleep all day, but to do something that makes your body feel good. If you sit at a desk a lot, like me, then maybe an active vacation is good for you. If you work construction, then maybe a more relaxing vacation is in order. Whatever it is, to make the most of your vacation, you should be doing things that vary your routine, make your body feel better, but are also different from what you normally do. Another benefit, though, is that it makes you more creative both while you're on vacation and when you go back to work. Now, you might be thinking, I don't work in a creative field. I'm not a designer or anything. But in fact, many people can benefit from creativity at work. Can you improve a process? Is there a new customer or product you might want to develop? The ideas for Instagram came to Kevin Systrom when he was walking on the beach in Mexico. And in fact, a survey of 1,000 small businesses in the UK found that a fifth of new business ideas came to their founders on vacation. Vacation is a time where people can think deeply about a subject, not be interrupted as much, not have to face the pressures of the day-to-day routine. Getting out in nature, reading books cover to cover, trying new food, meeting new people, and getting exercise are all things that can spark creativity. I can tell you that my best ideas for plain English and for my day job, my best ideas don't come while I'm hunched over my computer, banging away on the keyboard. So now we know why it's important. Let's ask how much people are generally entitled to. Workers in the EU, European Union, are guaranteed at least 20 days of paid leave, while the UK, France, Austria, Denmark, Finland, Sweden, and Luxembourg all have national minimums even higher than that. We normally think of Europeans as being the vacation champions, but Brazil actually has a much higher legal minimum, 30 days of annual paid leave once you have been at a company for a year. In France, by the way, you just have to work somewhere for a month before you're entitled to your vacation. Spain also offers a generous 30-day vacation policy, and they don't allow companies to pay employees extra in exchange for taking less time, so you know everyone is at least taking their 30 days. South Africa has a complicated vacation law, but one provision says that workers are entitled to 21 consecutive days off, so 3 whole weeks all at once. In Australia, you get an additional week of paid vacation if you do shift work. So nurses, police officers, they all get more time off than the 9-to-5ers. And then there are the Americans. We are the only country in the OECD group of developed countries that does not mandate paid vacation, although most full-time workers do get it. Whether we take it or not is another story. A study by the travel industry. Now, admittedly, the travel industry has an interest in getting us out of the office, but a study by U.S. Travel in 2018 said that just over half of American workers did not use their full vacation allotment. In fact, a total of 705 million vacation days went unused, and Americans left 212 million vacation days on the table. Why do people do this? Well, some people are afraid to take it due to workplace pressure. If you're not available, you might be passed up for a good opportunity. You might have aggressive goals at work, and taking 2 weeks off could just put you, 2 weeks behind when you get back. What kind of vacation is that if you're just worried about your workload the whole time? So the average number of days taken in 2017, the most recent year I could find, was 17 days, so just over 3 weeks a year. What are workers doing when they're out of the office? Well, in too many cases, the answer is keeping an eye on work. A survey by the career site Glassdoor found that 29% of employees were contacted during their vacation about a work-related matter. I'm surprised it's that low, to be honest, at least based on my experience. Of course, different countries have their own vacation traditions. It's becoming more and more common here in the US for companies to shut down during the week of Christmas. Norway has something called the Fellesferie. Not sure if I said that right, but it's a period of about 2 or 3 weeks that people take as vacation, all at the same time in July. So during that time, businesses either close entirely or operate on light summer hours. In the Netherlands, they have something called Bouwak. I definitely didn't say that right. Bouwvak. Anyway, that's when people in the building and construction industries all take holidays together. So if you're trying to get a building built during that time, you have to wait. And don't even try to get anyone in France on the phone in the whole month of August. So what kind of a vacation should you take? French style and just head to the beach for a month? Or mini vacations throughout the year, taking a day or two here and there? Most people recommend taking a vacation twice a year. The key is it has to be long enough to get a real benefit, but you need to save enough days to spread throughout the year. So if you have 3 weeks off, one suggestion would be to take 2 week-long vacations and save 1 week to make long weekends during the year, things like that. I'd be curious how this works for all of you. First of all, do you take all of the vacation time that you're allowed to? And second of all, is it best to take all your time off at once and do something epic like a 3-4 week vacation? Or is it better to sprinkle it throughout the year? I think I'm about moderation when it comes to my time off. I like to find 2 times during the year to take some extended time off, a week, maybe a bit more. But I also like to save some days in my back pocket just in case I really need an unplanned long weekend. By the way, I activated the comments on our website, so go on there and add your thoughts about this episode, plainenglish.com/176. This is unrelated, but I hadn't activated the comments feature because I kept getting this really annoying spam in the comments before, but I think I have the spam under control now, so I turned on the comments. So now a great way to practice writing a little bit would be to go on the website and just leave your thoughts on the episode topic. And this is a good one to share how many days of vacation you get per year. I'll even get us started. If you want to learn how many days I get at my job, just go on to plainenglish.com/176, scroll down, and I'll post my number of vacation days plus my strategy for how I like to take them. Today's expression is to leave something on the table. How did you hear it before? Americans collectively leave millions of vacation days on the table. In fact, I'm embarrassed to say that last year, even I left about 5 vacation days on the table, and I love my vacation time. So when you leave something on the table, you fail to claim it for yourself. It might have been available to you had you taken it, had you claimed it, but because you didn't, you missed out. In my case, I was being offered a certain number of vacation days per year, but I took less than that. There were days there for me to take, but I didn't take them all, and I left 5 days on the table. If you go into a negotiation with another party, you want to get as much advantage for yourself as possible. Otherwise, you'll leave something on the table, and you don't want to do that. So let's think about a few times when you might be in a negotiation. Imagine you get a new job, and now it's time to talk about how much you'll get paid by your new employer. The new company has an amount that it's willing to pay you. But of course, they don't tell you that. They make you an offer, which is usually, at least in many jobs in the US, the offer is usually a little bit less than the maximum they're willing to pay. So pretend an employer offers you a salary of, $7,000 per month, but they're secretly willing to pay you up to a maximum of $8,000 per month. If you accept the $7,000 offer right away, you're leaving money on the table. If you negotiate a little bit, you might be able to get more. Who knows? Maybe even the full $8,000. Now, here in the US, studies generally show that women are more reluctant than men to negotiate their salaries, and as a result, women tend to leave more money on the table because of their reluctance to negotiate. So when you go into a negotiation, your objective is not to leave anything on the table. If you ever had any sales training, then you know that sooner or later you have to ask for the sale. You have to ask the customer to buy. You can't just assume that the customer will approach you first. In sales, you don't want to be too pushy, but if you don't ask the customer to buy, you will leave some sales on the table. If you don't ask them to buy, then you won't get all the sales you otherwise could. If you're going to college and you don't at least try to get a scholarship, then you might be leaving some money on the table. If you're selling a house, you want to make sure the house is clean and all the small repairs are done. If you don't do that basic work, then you will wind up leaving some money on the table because buyers will pay less for your house just because it's dirty. We don't want that. Now, sometimes in negotiations, As a sign of good faith, you might want to leave a little something on the table on purpose. And in these cases, you may decide not to quite take everything that you can possibly get. And by doing so, you build goodwill with the other party. You may consciously decide to leave a little something on the table just so you're not perceived as trying to take advantage. All right, it's Monday. We have a quote of the week. I was reading an article about France, and in France, as we know, they prize their culture. So they tend to protect cultural institutions from competition. And one example is bookstores. They want to preserve traditional bookstores in France. And the French Minister of Culture, Frank Riester, had a good quote about the pleasures of bookstores. Here's what he said. On the internet, you can find what you look for, but only in a bookshop do you find what you were not looking for. I think that goes for libraries too. There's a way of finding exactly what you want when you're searching online, but the pleasures of just stumbling upon something new, something you weren't looking for, that's what's nice about walking around a bookstore or a library. Quite frankly, the same probably goes for vintage clothing shops too, right? The article I was reading was about a French law that doesn't allow discounting books. So a shop is not allowed to lower the price of the books, which is not necessarily something I favor, but I can appreciate the sentiment behind the quote. Once more, on the internet, you can find what you look for, but only in a bookshop do you find what you were not looking for. And that was by the French Minister of Culture, Frank Riester. That's all for today. Thanks for joining us at Plain English. I hope you get a chance to take some vacation time this summer if you're in the north, or maybe hit the slopes if you're in Chile or Argentina. Remember to get the episode announcements and all the news about the program by going to plainenglish.com/mail, M-A-I-L. And don't be shy, don't be afraid to check out the comments on this episode right below the transcript at plainenglish.com/176. That's all. The next episode comes out on Thursday. I hope you'll join us then. If you enjoy listening to Plain English, then I'd like you to consider joining Plain English Plus. With video lessons, faster audio, flashcards, and online courses, it's the best way to take your English to the next level. Visit plainenglish.com/plus to read all about it.